CVO said in 2016 over 21 million people would sign up for Obamacare exchanges. Less than half that number actually signed up. And then in 2017, they estimated 24 million Americans would sign up for Obamacare. Again, less than half of those people actually signed up, primarily citing the fact that the costs are too high. Obamacare doesn't work. That's why it's so important that our rescue mission repeal and replace it.
Yeah, I'm just going to digress for a second. I tell you, this World War II museum in New Orleans, every American should go to this place. It is an incredible education experience. People should take their kids there. It really is something that everybody in this country should go to. I want to commend Chairman Rowe. I want to commend Chairman Wenstrup and all the Republicans and the Democrats who have come together to advance this legislation. This has been a long time in coming. Any of you who have reported on this scandal over the last few years know how entrenched the problems at the Veterans Administration really are. This legislation is one of, if not the biggest step we have taken to turn this page. Because we have many veterans who are not only waiting for care, we have a lot of veterans who are waiting for answers. They're waiting for some recognition, any recognition that they're being heard. But instead of listening, we have had a bureaucracy that is ignoring problems, creating waiting lists, avoiding accountability. At the Tomah VA in Tomah, Wisconsin, the chief of staff, who the patients called the Candy Man, he was called the Candy Man because he was distributing all these narcotics he was prescribing. He got a $4,000 bonus. This came after an investigation uncovered that he was overprescribing, and it was after Jason Simkokoski, a patient at Tomah, died from a fatal overdose. By the way, the pharmacist at Tomah, he got a bonus also that year. The VA needs real reform, and this bill helps get that done. With this legislation, Secretary Shulkin will have the tools that he needs to deliver the kinds of changes that our veterans have been demanding. And most fundamentally, it will assure our veterans that when we say that we are a grateful nation, we mean it. So we look forward to sending this major bipartisan legislation to the President's desk. We've been talking about this for about 3 years. When we uncovered all the scandals of the VA, now we're making law. Now we're bringing accountability. Now we're getting the veterans the kind of response and the accountability that they earned and deserve. And I'm very proud of these members who worked across the aisle to get this done. Anybody have any questions? Juan.
There are Republicans who are urging President Trump to fire Robert Mueller, leading the special investigation into the Russia issue. Former Speaker Gingrich said it's time to rethink Mueller's role. Do you think it's wise for the Republican Party to be having this debate and discussion right now?
Yeah, I mean, all I've heard so much are rumors, but I think in the best case for the president is to be vindicated by allowing this investigation to go on thoroughly and independently. So I think the best advice would be to let Robert Mueller do his job.
And Mr. Speaker, if we could come to that, do you think you could continue to stand by this president and what sort of
Oh, I'm not going to get it. Look, I just said it. I think the best thing to do is to let Robert Mueller do his job. I think the best vindication for the president is to let this investigation go on independently and thoroughly. That to me is the smartest thing to do, the best thing to do, and that's what I think hopefully will happen.
Speaker, on the budget, you guys are running into issues like you did last year with disagreements on the top line spending number, and even some members are already talking about a shell budget just to get the tax reform sooner than when you guys did it with the healthcare. Do you think you can get a real budget resolution that lays out your priorities and what are the consequences of failure to do so now that you guys have the government?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So the questions about the budget. Remember, with a new president, in the first year, you always have an abbreviated budget season. That's the way budgeting with new administration works. So we always knew that we had a constricted budget and appropriation season. And we're having a debate right now about how much we can assist the Pentagon and the military. So it's not a question of more resources for the military. It's just a question of the degree of how much more resources we can dedicate to the military. And that's really what this big debate is about. And then we're going to have the kind of debate about what kind of what we call reconciliation instructions are necessary, not just for tax reform, but for other kinds of things we need to make sure that we're getting the budget trajectory heading in the right direction. What's the purpose of this budget? Get us on a path to balance, get working on our debt problem, which is a long-term problem, rebuild the military, and then put the kind of tools in place so we can maximize economic growth. The crown jewel of growing this economy, regulatory relief, you just saw what we did with the Choice Act last week, tax reform. We think tax reform is absolutely critical to get 3% economic growth, to get higher wages, to get people going to work, and that is really important. That's what this budget's about. So we have lots of priorities that we're having debate about how best we advance those priorities. We're having the kind of family conversation you have every year. When we have a resolution on that, you'll know. Deirdre.
Speaker Ryan, there are other Republicans who've been criticizing Mueller and the team around him that he's hiring. Do you have complete confidence in Mueller and his team?
Yeah, I don't know his team. I know Bob Mueller, and I have confidence in Bob Mueller.
Last question.
Way in the back. Yeah.
Thank you, Speaker Ryan. Two parts. One, did you convey your opinions to the president on Mr. Mueller, that he should just let the investigation continue? And if the president does go ahead and let Mr. Mueller go, would you?
There's no debate that's going on here. You're saying this.
You're creating a debate that's not happening.
And would
this
you?
is, I heard this is like a rumor you heard last night, so there's really not some big debate that's occurring.
And would Congress be interested in re-upping the special prosecutor law?
You're creating, like I said, Captain just meant it, you're creating a debate that's not occurring here. This is something that I think was a rumor that came
You're
out last night.
focusing on the
so.
VA and healthcare, and you're creating a rumor that's not happening.
So
It's not
Kevin made a good point here. Look at what we're doing this week. We found out 3 years ago, veterans were dying on these waiting lists that were occurring at the VA in Arizona and then all around America. So we uncovered a scandal, and then we realized when we were uncovering this veteran scandal, we couldn't even bring accountability to the VA. They couldn't even fire people who were grossly negligent in their jobs. So what are we doing? We're fixing this problem today. What did we do last week? We passed the Choice Act. We repealed and replaced Dodd-Frank, ended too big to fail, ended bailouts, and brought needed regulatory relief for community banks to help small businesses get credit and grow. What are we working on next week? We're working on the skills gap so that people can get the skills they need to get good jobs. The point I'm trying to make is, let's put this all in perspective. We are focused on solving people's problems. What I think the American people want to know is that their government's working. Yes, these issues, I'm not saying this isn't important. These investigations are important. They need to be independent. They need to be thorough. They need to go where the facts go. But we also have a duty to serve the people that elected us to fix the problems that they're confronting in their daily lives, and that's what we're doing. Thank you.